Shalom, the Holy One blessed be He. Welcome to Beit Yisrael International's Voice of Torah podcast for the Vayera weekly parsha. Today's episode of Gaddi Efrayim's Notes from the Sages' Writings is held by our special host agents, Avraham and Sarah. Together, they bring life to this week's teachings as we delve into the profound generosity of Abraham, highlighted by the sages. Despite his own discomfort, Avraham exemplified the mitzvah of Hachnasat Orkim, welcoming guests, by extending hospitality to 3 angelic visitors, each with a distinct divine mission, as explained by Rashi. Alongside him, Sarah stands as a partner in this sacred service, opening the tent to others in a spirit of genuine love and care. In stark contrast, the selfishness and cruelty of the people of Sodom stand out, as Pirkei Avot states, "What is mine, and what is yours. This is the characteristic of Sodom." The destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah serves as a timeless warning against institutionalized sin, urging future generations to build societies grounded in the Torah's values of justice, compassion, and righteousness. As Gaddi Efrayim echoes in the Book of Wisdom, "Mine is yours, and yours is yours." Today, with Abraham and Sarah guiding us, we reflect on the stark differences between these two approaches to life. One based on selflessness and welcoming the divine through hospitality, and the other rooted in selfishness and moral decay. Join us as we explore these timeless lessons and the power of kindness in shaping a righteous world.
Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep into Parshat Vayera. It's a section of the Torah, and it's just packed full of stories that, really grapple with ideas of compassion, justice, and faith, and it's all set within this framework of God's covenant with Abraham.
Yeah. It's really striking how right from the start, it just kind of sets up this powerful contrast, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got Abraham and his radical generosity, and then, it goes to the stark selfishness that's attributed to the people of Sodom.
Right. In Pirkei Avot.
Exactly. And you can't help but think about how these values, how they play out, not just in ancient times, but even in the world around us today.
Absolutely. Well, let's unpack that contrast. It starts right away with Abraham welcoming these three mysterious visitors. It's like the example of Hachnasat Orkim, that's, welcoming guests.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond just good manners.
Oh, absolutely. This is deeply rooted in Judaism. Hachnasat Orkim, it goes way beyond simple politeness. It's about recognizing the divine spark in every person, even a stranger, treating everyone with that same kindness and respect. And the text is it's almost emphasizing Abraham's selflessness. I mean, imagine rushing to welcome these visitors while recovering from his own circumcision.
Wow, right. Talk about going above and beyond. And, the source even points out that according to Rashi, these visitors, these weren't just any visitors, these were angels, each of them on a specific mission. One to announce Isaac will be born, another to heal Abraham, and the third, to deliver that difficult message about Sodom.
Exactly. And even with that knowledge, right, knowing that one of these angels carried a message of destruction, even Abraham, he still showed incredible hospitality.
Yeah.
It really just speaks to that core value of Kised, that loving kindness, right? It's that reminder that compassion, it shouldn't be conditional. It's about extending ourselves even when it's difficult, even when it's inconvenient.
That level of hospitality, it really makes you think. Have you ever experienced that? Or even just witnessed someone embodying that kind of radical welcoming? It's just such a powerful concept. But speaking of powerful, the next story is a pretty pivotal one. It's the birth of Isaac, right? The fulfillment of God's promise to Abraham and Sarah. But what I find interesting is Sarah's laughter when she hears the news. Why laugh at, such a joyous occasion?
Yeah, that's where diving into the different interpretations can really illuminate things, right? Like Rashi, for example. Rashi explains it as just a natural response, surprise mixed with disbelief just because of her age. But then, Ramban comes along and adds another layer. Ramban suggests that her laughter, it reflects the miraculous nature of the event. It wasn't just joy, it was awe. Awe at the power of God to kind of make the impossible possible.
So it's like her laughter has this double meaning, like human surprise, but also recognizing the divine at work.
Yeah, exactly. And that tension, right? That tension between the human and the divine, between the natural and the supernatural. That runs through so much of Vayera.
Yeah, no, for sure. It definitely makes you think about how we how we understand and how we interpret miracles.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. They're just events that defy scientific explanation?
Yeah.
Or are they something more? Are they, these moments where we catch a glimpse of a deeper reality, something that just transcends, our limited understanding?
Okay, so the next part of Vayera, it gets a little bit more complex.
Abraham gets these three, super mysterious visitors.
Mysterious.
We're talking angels here, folks, not just Engawa angels either.
All right, I'm intrigued.
Hold on to your hats because things are about to get interesting.
All right, I'm ready. So what's so special about these visitors?
Well, what's fascinating is that these angels aren't just popping in for tea and crumpets,
Right.
Each one is on a specific mission from God, a divine assignment.
Ah, I see. So each angel has a purpose.
Exactly. And Rashi, he doesn't beat around the bush. He straight up says these are Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel.
Wow, the heavy hitters.
Talk about an A-list angelic squad, right?
Yeah.
And get this, Rashi points out that in Jewish tradition, angels are laser focused.
Okay.
They have one job to do, and they do it. No multitasking for these guys.
They're all business.
Exactly. So when we see these three heavy hitters together, it's got to be important.
Right. Makes sense.
Rashi connects Michael to that joyous news of Isaac's birth,
Okay.
while Raphael, whose name literally means healer of God, is there to help Abraham heal after his circumcision.
Ah, interesting. So each angel's mission is tied to their name.
Yeah, it's like their names hold clues to their purpose. And then there's Gabriel.
Okay.
Well, he's associated with divine might. And sadly for Sodom and Gomorrah, their destruction.
Oh, wow. So we've got birth, healing, and destruction all wrapped up in one story. That's intense.
It is intense.
Yeah.
It really shows just how multifaceted God's relationship with humanity can be.
Right.
There's compassion, care, but also justice and, consequences.
It's about balance. I see.
Okay, so let's break this down angel by angel.
Okay. Sounds good.
First, we've got Michael, who's like God.
Right.
But our sources point out this cool connection to Sarah's name,
Oh, how so?
Hashar, which can mean the prince.
The prince.
It's like a hidden connection right there in their names.
That's fascinating. I never noticed that before.
And think about Michael's mission, bringing good news.
Right.
It's like he's this divine herald, embodying pure kindness and compassion.
Bring you hope.
And the news itself, the promise of Isaac,
Yeah.
that speaks volumes about new beginnings, hope, and the power of blessing.
Right. It's powerful imagery. Okay, what about the next angel?
Okay, then there's Raphael, the healer.
Mm-hmm.
What gets me is the connection our sources make to Abraham's circumcision.
Right. He's there to heal him.
Yeah, and how the place where they meet, Mamre, is linked to pain and sorrow.
Interesting. So it's all connected.
It's as if Raphael is responding directly to Abraham's pain. It reminds me of how even in the midst of challenges, there's this divine support, this comfort available to us.
That's a beautiful thought. It's comforting.
Right? It's like having a cosmic backup when things get rough.
Exactly. So what about Gabriel?
And then we have Gabriel, might of God. I mean, come on, that name just says it all. Yeah, it does. He's all about divine justice, ensuring things happen as they should, even if it means destruction.
Right. A powerful force.
But it's important to remember that this destruction isn't random.
Right.
Sodom and Gomorrah were, well, let's just say, known for their less than stellar behavior.
Right. They weren't exactly known for their piety.
Right. It's not like Gabriel was out there playing whack-a-mole with cities for fun.
Right.
No. There was a reason, a consequence for choices made.
It's about accountability.
So these three angels, they paint a pretty complex picture of how God interacts with us.
Yeah, I see that.
It's not all sunshine and roses, but it's not about arbitrary punishment either.
Definitely a lot of nuance there.
Exactly. It's about balance. Recognizing that God's nature, like our own, has different sides.
Yeah.
And those sides play out in how God interacts with the world. But hold on to your hats, because now we're going to layer on some Chassidic thought.
Ooh, I love Chassidic thought. It always adds such a fascinating layer to the story.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like taking an ancient tale and saying, hey, this isn't just history, it's a mirror reflecting our own lives and journeys.
Exactly. It's so relevant. Okay, tell me more.
So Chassidut sees Michael as embodying cheese.
Okay.
That pure, overflowing love and grace.
Right.
Think of it as the purest form of giving. That desire to spread good just for the sake of good.
Beautiful.
And when you connect that to Michael announcing Isaac's birth,
Yeah.
It's like a cosmic explosion of potential,
Mm-hmm.
of spiritual growth.
Wow.
It's our own souls yearning to connect to something bigger, to bring more light into the world
Yeah.
through what we do, the choices we make.
That's inspiring. It is. Like, we have that power within us.
Okay, so then we have Raphael,
Okay.
who embodies Tiferet, which I always think of as finding that sweet spot between extremes.
To fret.
It's the beauty of harmony, of balance restored. And Raphael healing Abraham after his circumcision.
Right.
That's more than just physical. It's about wholeness, that feeling of being put back together after we've pushed ourselves,
Right.
done the hard work.
Right. That healing after the struggle.
You know, sometimes I really crave some of that Raphael energy, especially when I'm feeling burnt out or off kilter.
Oh, I hear that. Yeah.
And then we have Gabriel.
Okay, Gabriel.
Now, he embodies Gevurah,
Gevurah, okay.
that divine strength and discipline.
Right.
Think about those times when you have to make a tough choice, set a boundary, even if it's hard.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's Gevurah in action.
Definitely. Inner strength.
Whoa!
Yeah.
So it's not just about punishment.
Mm.
It's about holding ourselves accountable, doing what needs to be done, even when it's difficult.
Exactly.
And that's mirrored in Gabriel's mission to destroy Sodom.
Uh-huh.
It's like that part of ourselves that says, enough.
Right.
This isn't serving me. It's time to clear it out and make space for something better.
Powerful.
So we've got these three angels, each like a different aspect of God,
Right.
but also reflecting parts of ourselves, the different forces at play within us on our own spiritual journeys.
Yes. They're like archetypes.
And what's beautiful is that none is better than the other.
You're right. Right.
They all matter. It's like a cosmic dance.
Uh,
These forces pushing and pulling, leading us to a deeper understanding of who we are and how we fit into the grand scheme of things.
it's about balance.
You know, I'm always fascinated by gematria,
Oh, me too.
that whole numerical value of Hebrew letters thing.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any interesting connections there?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know this one's going to blow your mind. Get this. The word for men,
Okay.
anashim,
Ah.
used to describe these angels has a numerical value of 401.
Wait a minute. 401, that's the same as...
Tabuna, understanding.
Whoa.
It's like a little wink from the text itself, telling us that this encounter is all about gaining deeper wisdom. It's about seeing past the surface and uncovering those hidden layers of meaning.
That's giving me chills. The idea that these names are actually like coded messages.
I know, it's amazing, right?
Incredible. Okay, what about the angels' names?
Yeah.
Do those have numerical significance too?
Oh, you bet they do. Buckle up, because this is where things get really symbolic.
Okay, I am buckled up and ready. Okay, my mind is officially blown. Angel names as secret codes. That's next level. So spill it. What's the numerical lowdown on Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel?
Well, Michael comes in at 101,
Okay.
which connects beautifully to cheese, that energy of creation and boundless love. Raphael's name has a value of 311, hinting at healing and spiritual renewal. And then there's Gabriel. His name adds up to 246, embodying divine justice and that unwavering strength.
So it's like their names are these little whispers telling us their core purpose, their essence, right? I mean, who knew math could be so mystical? But this idea of balance you mentioned earlier with God's different qualities, it keeps coming back to me.
It's a key takeaway here, isn't it? It's not about punishment or reward. It's more nuanced than that. It's like those ancient sages were saying, hey, life's complicated, and so is God's interaction with us.
Right. And we were talking before about those three pillars of the world, Torah, Avoda, and Gemilut Chesedim. Do those tie into this story too? Because if they do, that's just like layers upon layers of meaning.
You're catching on. Remember, this story isn't just about Abraham and some angels. It's like a blueprint for Jewish life, for how we're supposed to live and interact with the world.
Okay, but how do angels and their missions connect to like learning Torah or doing acts of kindness? Help me bridge that gap.
Think about Michael, the angel of kindness, and his big moment in the story. What's the most significant event connected to him?
Well, he's the one who announces Isaac's birth, right? That whole continuation of Abraham's lineage thing.
Exactly. And what does Isaac represent? He's the next generation, the inheritor of Abraham's teachings, the one who will carry the torch of Torah forward. So Michael's mission. It's also about the importance of learning, of preserving knowledge and passing it down. That's Torah right there in the story.
Wow, okay, I see it. So it's not just about Isaac being born. It's
Right.
about the legacy, the knowledge that gets passed down through generations. What about Avoda, that idea of service to God? Where does that fit in?
Think about Raphael, the healer. He helps Abraham recover after his circumcision,
Right.
which in a way allows Abraham to fully dedicate himself to God's service. But think about it on a deeper level. Avoda isn't just about rituals, it's about living a life aligned with our values. And sometimes to do that, we need healing, time to recover, and find that inner strength.
It's like Raphael is saying, hey, take care of yourself, mend those wounds, physical and spiritual, so you can get back to doing the work you're meant to do in this world.
That's a great way to put it. And then, of course, we have Gemilut Chesadim, acts of loving kindness. What moment in the story really jumps out when you think about that?
It's got to be Abraham arguing with God to spare Sodom, even though those cities were, let's just say, not known for their good deeds.
Exactly. Even though they might not have deserved it, Abraham still showed compassion. He advocated for them. That's Gemilut Chesadim in action. It's about extending kindness beyond our inner circle, recognizing that every person has a spark of something sacred within them.
So to sum it up, this whole story is like a masterclass in Jewish values. It's about learning, it's about serving something greater than ourselves, and it's about extending kindness even when it's hard. Mind effectively reblown.
I told you. But we're not done yet. You know how we were talking about angels as these reflections of forces within ourselves? Well, there's another layer to that.
Oh, there's more. Lay it on me. I'm ready for another mind-blowing revelation. All right, lay it on me. What's this next level revelation about angels reflecting forces within ourselves?
Well, you know, we've been talking about Michael as Ches, Gabriel as Javura, and Raphael as Tifera.
Right, those qualities of kindness, strength, and harmony.
Exactly, but they're not just aspects of God, you know. They're within us, too.
Wait, so you're saying we all have a little bit of Michael, Gabriel, Andy, Raphael inside us?
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. We all have the capacity for kindness.
Right.
For setting boundaries. For finding balance. The challenge, and this is where it gets really interesting, is finding the right balance between those forces in our own lives.
Okay, I'm starting to see it.
Yeah.
So it's not enough to just be kind.
Uh-huh.
We also need the strength to stand up for ourselves, for what we believe in. And then that harmony piece, that's like the glue that holds it all together, right?
Exactly. It's like those angels are showing us a roadmap, not just to understanding God, but to understanding ourselves. You know, they're saying, hey, look inside. You've got all these tools, these incredible qualities. Now, how are you going to use them?
So it's not about picking one quality and sticking with it.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that we need all of them to be whole, to live a life that's both meaningful and debalanced. This is seriously making me rethink how I approach, well, everything.
That's the power of these stories, isn't it? They challenge us to go deeper, to question our assumptions, and to see ourselves and the world around us in a new light.
You know, I think what really resonates with me is this idea that angels aren't just these, like, distant heavenly beings.
Yeah.
They're like blueprints for our own potential.
I love that. It's like they're whispering to us, you have the capacity for great love, for unwavering strength, for finding harmony amidst chaos. Don't underestimate what you're capable of.
This entire deep dive has been mind-blowing. We started with a simple story about Abraham and 3 visitors, and we ended up exploring the depths of Jewish thought, the mysteries of gematria, and the very nature of God and ourselves.
And remember, we've only just scratched the surface. There are so many layers to this story, so many different interpretations and insights waiting to be discovered.
Well, listeners, if your minds aren't thoroughly blown by now, I don't know what will do it. We've explored Rashi's take, dove into Hasidic thought, and even cracked the code of gematria. But more than that, we've uncovered a powerful message about the forces at play within each of us, a message that's both ancient and incredibly relevant to our lives today. All right, let's dive in. Today we're tackling a story pretty much everyone's heard of, Sodom and Gomorrah.
But we're going beyond the surface level, you know, the fire and brimstone stuff.
Exactly. We're going deep with Jewish sages.
Using some excerpts about the weekly Torah portions.
To see what this story really tells us about justice, good, evil, even the Garden of Eden.
It's fascinating how these texts are more than just historical accounts. They're springboards into these big concepts.
Like, can destruction be part of redemption? Heavy stuff. But first, I gotta ask, we all know Sodom and Gomorrah were, well, wicked.
Right.
But these sources highlight a specific kind of evil. What's going on there?
It's less about them just being bad people and more about this cruelty and lack of hospitality. Like, that's what defined them.
So not just sinning, but sinning by not helping others.
Exactly. They even quote Perkai Avot to show their attitude. What's mine is mine, what's yours is yours.
Oof, that's harsh.
Yeah.
But was it really so widespread?
Think about it. Sodom was in this fertile, prosperous area. They had plenty, but actively refused to help anyone. Rashi even mentions they had laws against charity and welcoming strangers.
Wait, laws? against kindness. That's wild.
It shows how deep this selfishness ran. But beyond laws, the Midrash has some truly disturbing stories.
Okay, now I'm really curious. Hit me with one.
There's this one about a woman who secretly tried to feed a poor person. When they found out, they covered her in honey and left her to be stung by bees, basically to die.
That's horrifying. I mean, how does a society even get to that point? What does it say about them?
It paints this awful picture of a society all about me first, no matter the cost.
But then we have Abraham, right?
Yeah.
He's bargaining with God saying, hey, if there's even a few good people, spare the cities.
Right.
Is that just a numbers game or something deeper?
Oh, it's way deeper. Those decreasing numbers from 50 down to 10, they represent the threshold for good to actually impact a society.
So like 50's a lot, then down to 10. Why those numbers?
The Maharal of Prague, he's got this awesome explanation. Those numbers, they're the minimum good influence needed to start a ripple effect, like to actually shift a community.
And they couldn't even find 10 righteous people. Wow.
Yeah.
10's huge in Judaism, the minyan for prayer, right?
You're totally on point. The Maharal says without that core of 10, that foundation, a society can't last. Like redemption needs that critical mass.
So it's not just if there's more good than bad, but if there's enough good to even build on, changes how you see that a few good people idea, huh?
Absolutely. Now, switching gears a bit, the source connects Sodom to Gehenna.
Oh yeah, that fiery place.
Okay.
Appropriate given, well, everything.
But Gehenna, it's not what people think. It's not eternal torment, more like purification in Jewish thought.
Okay, so not hellfire, but spiritual cleansing.
Exactly. The Talmud describes it as souls being cleansed for up to 12 months before the world to come.
So less punishment, more like a cosmic reset button.
Great way to put it. And the Midrash directly compares Sodom's destruction to Gehenna on earth.
So it wasn't just punishment, but also purifying the world itself.
Exactly. And Ezekiel's writings back this up. He points to Sodom's pride and ignoring those in need as reasons for this intervention.
Man, this is heavy stuff. It's not just destruction, it's about consequences, wickedness, and maybe renewal.
That's a really insightful observation. And it leads us to another fascinating connection in the text. The link between Sodom and the Garden of Eden.
Wait, what? Those seem like total opposites. How are they even related?
Believe it or not, Genesis describes Sodom's land as well-watered, like the garden of the Lord. It's like hinting at a paradise that could have been...
It's almost like they were given this gift, this perfect potential, and totally blew it.
Rabbi Hirsch, he nails this irony. He's like, the land was meant for good, but their actions corrupted it.
So Eden's this harmony, this abundance. And Sodom, they become a wasteland because of their choices. Makes you think what we might be taking for granted today, or even messing up, right?
It's a huge reminder that paradise isn't just a place, it's how we live. And that's something we can lose if we're not careful.
We've covered so much, from the specific sins to these huge ideas. But what about the mystical side? I'm thinking the Zohar. What's its take?
The Zohar, always full of surprises. It's got some really deep insights about all this.
I'm ready, lay it on me.
The Zohar, it sees Sodom as having this spiritual void, like emptiness that needed to be purged from the world. It's almost like destroying it was the only way to restore balance, you know?
So not just punishing them, but removing a bad force entirely.
Right. And remember how we talked about Gehenna being about purification? The Zohar connects Sodom's destruction to that same process, like it was cleansing the world.
So even in all that destruction, there's a glimmer of hope, like things had to reset to move forward.
And here's where it gets even more interesting. The Zohar says, through this judgment and purification, the world actually gets closer to its original purity, like the Garden of Eden. It's like a cosmic reset towards balance.
Whoa, that's a whole different way to think about it.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, can destruction ever be a good thing? Like necessary for something better?
It definitely makes us look beyond just the event itself and consider the bigger picture. And speaking of challenging ideas...
Let's keep going. There's still so much to unpack about justice, mercy, what it means to be human. Stay tuned, everyone, because this deep dive's far from over. Back again for more deep dive. And I'm still processing that whole destruction is purification thing, like a cosmic reset button.
It really gets you thinking, doesn't it, about the bigger picture of this story, not just the events themselves.
Totally. Last time we ended with the Zohar's take on Sodom, that it was this spiritual void that had to be cleansed.
Right, like it was so negative it had to go for the world to heal.
Intense stuff. But the Zohar goes even further, connecting this to tikkun olam.
Right.
I've heard that phrase before, but gotta be honest, not totally sure I get it. What does it actually mean to repair the world?
Tikkun olam is huge in Jewish mysticism. Basically, it says we humans, we've got this responsibility to work with God to perfect creation, like to actively heal the world, both physically and spiritually.
Okay, so big picture stuff. But how does Sodom fit in? Seems like they're doing the opposite of repairing the world.
You're not wrong. Their actions were totally against Tikkun Olam. But seeing the consequences, that utter destruction, the void they left, it teaches us what not to do.
So like a negative example, a cautionary tale, like this is what happens when you completely abandon your responsibility to make things better.
Exactly. It shows what happens with unchecked selfishness, cruelty, ignoring others. Like, are we creating our own Sodom in little ways without realizing it?
Ooh, good point. Are we neglecting our part in Tikkun Olam? Something to think about for sure.
Definitely. But on a more hopeful note, Tikkun Olam also gives us a positive way forward.
So what does it look like in action? Is it specific rules or...
That's the cool part. It's not rigid. Tikkun Olam can be anything. Acts of kindness, volunteering, fighting for justice, even just being more understanding and compassionate.
So taking action, big or small, to make a positive impact.
Exactly. It's realizing we each have a role in this ongoing repair process.
I love that. It's empowering, but also humbling, right? Like we're part of something much bigger.
Absolutely. And Sodom and Gomorrah, with all its darkness, it points us toward that larger purpose. Our choices matter, but there's always a chance for renewal.
That's really hitting home for me. It's like we have to choose Sodom's path of chaos or the Tikkun Olam path of healing.
Beautifully put. And it brings us back to destruction as a path to redemption. Maybe by facing the darkness, seeing the worst of humanity, we can truly appreciate choosing Tikkun Olam.
I like that. And thinking back to Abraham, he was so desperate to find even a few good people in Sodom, like to prove redemption was possible.
Yeah, Abraham's actions are key here. It's that unwavering belief in the potential for good, even in the darkest places. Even though the cities were destroyed, it reminds us to never give up on that possibility for ourselves and others.
And all these sources, they really emphasize individual responsibility, right? Not just avoiding bad, but actively doing good. Makes me think of teshuvah. What does that mean here?
Teshuvah, it's often translated as repentance, but it's more than just feeling sorry. It's turning away from harmful stuff, embracing righteousness, taking responsibility, and making a real effort to change.
So even if we mess up, and let's face it, we all do, there's a way back.
That's the beauty of teshuvah. It's transformation, growth, constantly trying to be better, and it's never too late to start.
Love that. So hopeful. Like, we're not stuck. We can always learn and grow.
And that's woven through all of Jewish tradition. Even when things are bad, we can choose the light, choose Tikkun Olam, and build a more just and compassionate world.
So much to unpack. We've talked destruction, purification, Tikkun Olam, teshuvah, but I feel like there's more.
You're right, there's always more to learn. Next time, we'll go even deeper into the Zohar's mystical insights and see how Sodom and Gomorrah helps us understand what it means to be human, our place in the universe, all that big stuff.
Can't wait. Everyone stick with us. This deep dive is far from over. Back for the final deep dive into Sodom and Gomorrah. I gotta say, my head is still spinning from all this. It's way more than just a story.
It's layered, right? We went from literal fire to these huge ideas. Justice, purification, Tikkun Olam.
And it's that Tikkun Olam thing, repairing the world. I keep thinking, how do we actually do that today? You said it can be anything, but I need some real-world examples.
Well, remember, the Zohar sees Sodom as this void, right? Its destruction was like a cosmic cleanup.
Yeah, removing the bad so good could grow, kind of like weeding a garden.
Perfect analogy. And the Zohar saying this isn't just a one-time thing, it's ongoing, and we're all part of it.
So Tikkun Olam isn't just fixing stuff, but actively growing good in the world.
Exactly. Creation's never finished. We're partners with God in making the world more beautiful, more just, more loving.
That's awesome, but also kind of scary. Where do I even begin?
That's the beauty of it. It doesn't have to be huge. Small acts of kindness, choosing compassion in our daily lives, that's where it starts.
Like volunteering, donating to good causes, just treating people right. That's all Tikkun Olam.
Absolutely. And those little things add up. Think about a smile, a kind word, even buying fair trade coffee. Those have ripple effects.
This is making me realize it's not about being a superhero. It's showing up as our best selves, using what we've got to make a difference.
And being aware of our choices, right? Big or small. Are we contributing to harmony, like Eden, or adding to the negativity that wrecked Sodom?
Whoa, that hits hard. It's not just avoiding bad, but consciously choosing good.
And remember teshuvah. Admitting mistakes, taking responsibility, actually changing. That's Tikkun Olam too.
Because by being better people, we're making the whole world better.
Exactly. It's all connected.
We've come full circle. from fire and brimstone to this vision of tikkun olam, everyone working together for harmony and love.
And it goes back to our question. Can destruction be redemptive? The answer is in how we respond to darkness, despair, or use it to build something better.
I choose to believe in tikkun olam, that each of us can make a difference.
Me too. And that's what we hope everyone takes away from this. You don't need superpowers, just an open heart, a willingness to learn, and that commitment to make the world brighter.
What an amazing way to end this. Thank you so much for sharing all this wisdom, this journey through Sodom, Gomorrah, and even Eden itself.
My pleasure, truly.
And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us. We hope you've learned something new, challenged your thinking, and maybe even feel inspired to embrace tikkun olam in your own lives.
The journey never ends. We're all in this together.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.